You're listening to Where We Fit, a podcast that shines a light on the unique paths and voices in the marketing and communications industry, brought to you by the CCNY AAF student chapter. My name is Monique. I am a video, film, production, ad PR student here at CCNY, and I'm also the president of the AAF student chapter. But enough about me. We are gathered with a full cast today, our alumni who have recently just graduated, and they're here to share with us about their experiences of graduating and now entering in the industry as communications professionals. We are joined by Sam Ortiz, account coordinator at Razorfish and a MAIP alumni. I'm testing out my sound effects, guys. Did you? We're also joined by Isabella Santana, assistant strategist at Horizon Media, career coach at American Needs You, and Eggie Pena, account coordinator at a boutique creative agency and the co-founder of Where We Fit podcast. Welcome, you guys. Eggie, I'm so sorry. We can't hear a thing you're saying, sweetheart.
It's this mute button thing. I don't know why they added it. It's just there all the time. I don't understand. I was actually just complimenting your pre-production by nailing my last name on that second try. So it's the importance of pre-production. Nailed it.
Yeah, I was honestly like getting very nervous because usually, Eggie, we had you on the first season and you were the one who always introduced, and I kind of was like, this is the guest. And it's definitely nerve-wracking being the only person here introducing everybody. But this is going to be a really fun and exciting episode. Like, I'm sitting down with people that I know. I'm sitting down with some alumni and people that I personally have worked with. So I'm very excited to like get to know everybody's perspectives on what it's like in post-graduation. I feel like it's a topic that we don't really get to talk about. And personally, I'm curious about it since I'm going to be graduating it next year. So I want to see what your experiences have been. So I'm going to dive right in. And Eggie, walk us through your process of how you felt post-graduation and how you feel now.
I think that like my story starts a little bit like before graduation, just because I started working at the boutique agency I'm at now in October. So I was actually working with them part-time and then also going to school and then also still working my full-time job. So it kind of started while I was still in school, which in a way made the transition easier because there wasn't, it was kind of like when I finished school, it was just like I took something off my plate. You know what I mean? I was already at the agency that I'm working at now. So it was a pretty smooth transition. I think the biggest takeaway though for me is that like don't wait to apply just because it's like, yeah, you know, you haven't graduated yet, but you need to start kind of putting those feelers out there because they'll take you before you graduate. Like it exists, it happens. Like it happened to me. It's real.
So you had an easier transition where you had already started working at this company and then you just went there straight on. But even in that process of, you started as an internship, correct?
No, I started just working with them part-time straight up. So like for I guess more clarity, they opened a social media manager position. And I've been doing different like podcast things on my own, like just as a hobbyist for like a few years now. So what I was able to do was kind of package that into my resume as a skill set, right? So when I saw the social media manager position open with them, I was like, I could kind of flex my podcast experience into like social media stuff. So let me apply. And then I applied to them, whatever. I ended up getting a call back for an interview. I didn't get the job for social media manager because they went with someone who was more qualified. But what ended up happening was that I made a great connection with the interviewer and the people that interviewed me at the company. So like this was probably in like, I want to say maybe June or July of last year. And then in October or at the end of September, they hit me up to say, hey, we have this new thing opening up. We really loved how you interviewed. Would you mind joining in as kind of like, it was kind of like just a random coordinator. Like I was kind of like just doing ad hoc stuff to just help out the account supervisor. And then so it evolved from there. So it was like kind of like I didn't even apply for the job that I ended up getting, you know? So it's like, just apply for shit, bro. It's like, oh wait, are we supposed, no cursing? Just apply for stuff, because
I
don't doubt
okay.
your skill set. Don't doubt your skill
Yeah.
set. Like, even if the position is not exactly what you think you can do, or where you want to end up, my goal was to kind of just crack the industry. Just get in there. You'll figure out where to go after you're in there.
I feel like, and ladies, correct me if I'm wrong here, I feel like that's a man's perspective to like want to jump the gun on that position, because I think at least for the women who I was surrounded with, they wouldn't even have the, I gotta watch my language here. They wouldn't even have the confidence to apply for a position. And you didn't have the qualifications for that job. You kind of was just like, hey, I'm interested in this. I have the skill sets for this. I'm gonna go ahead and apply for it. I personally wouldn't even think that. I'd look at the requirements and be like, oh, they need these requirements. I don't fit that. I'm gonna pass on the opportunity. So to hear that is very interesting. What do you guys think? Am I crazy here, or?
I will say that I think as women, we're like overly conscious about certain things that I think men are not, just because of, how life is for us in general. But I will say not to go by the requirements that's on the application, because you're never going to meet every single one, and that shouldn't deter you. And piggybacking, I'm going to piggyback off of what Eggie said, don't wait to apply, because I spoke to recruiters like a month before I graduated, and they told me the same thing. They're like, you can start applying now. Like, a recruiter told me that themselves, and I should have started applying sooner. And the thing is about applying a month in advance is that the interview process is like 2 weeks in itself. And it takes them about 2 weeks to even get back to you. So definitely apply sooner, just because the process is so long already.
So it's also important to consider the people that make these lists for when you apply for a job is HR. It's rarely ever the people that you're going to be working with. And those are the people that you will be talking to as you continue to interview. So even if you check off maybe 7 of 10 boxes, you can show how you exceed and better fulfill the role than what they think they want by, getting to know the people that you're interacting with.
So teamwork is something that's very essential. And I think even like in the ad PR program, it's heavily emphasized on like teamwork. And I know Eggie mentioned something yesterday, not yet, Wednesday, when we were talking about our briefing. You were like, we win even if like one person is doing it, even if 2 people are doing it, and there's like a whole team of people and there's only like 2-3 people active, we win together. We win as a team. So how do you guys think that like teamwork transitions into that?
I think that, and to kind of like, I feel like all of us all of in this group are kind of at different levels of one foot in school, one foot in the industry, realistically. So it's like, I feel like I'm gonna have a lot of references to school shit. With the teamwork thing, it's kind of like when you're put into a group in school, right? There's always going to be a slacker. There's always going to be an overachiever. There's always going to be like different degrees of involvement from all of the parties that are in the group. I think that while you're in school, you should really develop the muscle of not getting upset with your group projects, like not getting upset with a single team member. And that should be one of your like focuses in these group projects, should be, yo, how can I get through this group project without being annoyed with anyone? Right? Because and that's what I mean about winning as a team. Like, it doesn't matter whether that person is slacking, that person's overachieving, this person's not coming to meetings, this person's not doing this, or whatever the case is. None of that stuff matters, because you have to win together. Like, there's no going up to present something and saying, oh, I'm gonna win this by myself, because it doesn't work that way. You know what I mean? If you are ultimately winning on your own, then you failed the group project, right? Because at that point you're just doing homework. And that kind of thinking has really helped me, because there's been like a lot of different situations where like just working with people in general, you're gonna run into a bunch of different things. But when you kind of keep that like group project mentality and just like, yo, it's a bunch of students here. None of us, you know what I mean? Like, none of us know what we're doing, essentially, quote unquote. but you have to like keep level-headed with your teammates, because there's no winning by yourself when you're doing a group project. And it feels like so far in this industry, everything is one giant group project. Like every single thing that I've done so far is one giant group project. Like there's no, like there hasn't been a single moment where like there's only one person shining.
Eggie did treat, like if someone didn't want to participate, he literally treated it as if it was their loss. And like at the end of the day, it is, because you're not getting the experience you need to kind of to move forward and to be successful in this industry.
I was gonna say that like you guys really shined light on like group efforts, but I also just realized that all of you at some point have been in leadership positions. What would you say the perspective is when the roles are switched and it's not about like a team effort? You're not the group member, but you're the leader leading the entire group. And I'm gonna ask Bella specifically because I'm dying to hear what she says. She looks like she's itching to say something.
All right. So when you get stuck in, sometimes you get stuck in the leadership position. Sometimes nobody wants to kind of just stand up and say it'll be me. You kind of just have to make sure you communicate well with each individual person. And I have found that it helps if you take the time to try to find what management style works best for them. So like I remember when I did my final workshop class, it was 6 of us. And one person in particular just needed a little more hand holding to make sure they were comfortable doing their part. Whereas another person, here's what you need me to do. They took off running and they just came back with a final result. So taking the time to understand how each person contributes and what they're comfortable with in terms of communications is probably the best way to reach your end goal most successfully.
Sam, do you feel like that advice translated even into like a management position in like a retail job?
Definitely. I think it translates to any leadership position. And let's use the word leadership instead of management, because there's a huge difference between a manager and a leader.
Right.
So, but I think, doesn't matter which end you're in, it's always going to be about teamwork. And I think it's important for everyone to see it that way.
Okay, so
follower sounds corny though. It sounds like the wrong word.
That's what I was about to say.
Be a follower.
Yeah, that's what I was thinking. And I was okay.
You know what it is? You got to be coachable, I guess. To use a sports reference instead, you have to be coachable. Like you have to be coachable. Like you have to make yourself open to those kind of suggestions.
So let's say, what kind of learner are you instead of follower?
I'm going with follower. Break it.
Oh my God, Eggie.
Breaking stigmas. Like it's not wrong with being a follower. Yeah, you're a follower, sure.
And on and off, right? So what would you guys say? Like, how much did your extracurricular activities and like MAIP and your internships and AAF, how did that contribute to getting your positions now in terms of like being follower, being leader?
Honestly, it's like one big game, and every internship, job, club you do just adds to your list of skills and assets. And I mean, it definitely shows initiative if you take the time to like take on a really difficult position and it's not even something you're getting paid for. And it shows dedication too. So them seeing that on your resume and even in your interview, they can use you sometimes stand apart from a group because it shows that you're dedicated, you're involved in more than one thing. It's easy to say, yeah, I maintained a 4.0 GPA. But if you never did anything past that, sometimes that shows a lack of initiative on your end, and that'll reflect poorly on you. Not to say you need to do 100 internships or 15,000 clubs, but to find a balance between working on your skills, giving to your community, and still doing well in school is not something everybody is able to balance efficiently.
That's a really good point, because I feel like college students, the worst thing that college students suffer at is time management, balancing all these different obligations, because it's not just school, it's not just internships, it's not just clubs, it's personal life, it's your health, it's your family, it's just your mental health, like just to take a day to like relax. But I got a question for y'all, and this is we got to give the people, we got to set them up with some takeaways. You know what I mean? I mean, you guys have already like said a lot, but where or like how do you see us, the students, fitting into the industry and creating more spaces where our voices can be heard?
I think that what's really important is that keep in mind that we are in New York City. And by we, I mean City College. We are at the mecca of culture. And and the ad PR program at City College is the only one in the CUNY system. So it's very important for us to continue doing things like this, and then as we graduate, reach back to continue working with students at the school, continue contributing to the school, because where we fit is gonna have to be a block. Like, it's gonna have to be a group. Like, it's gonna have to be like bigger than just a person, bigger than just an individual. I think that we need to start actively programming each other to understand that we have the ability and the opportunity to move like a force. Like, it's like my intent is to create a space where we fit, not just as individuals, but it's just kind of like, we should go and get one of those CCNY kids. Like, that has to be the sentiment in the industry, and that has to be as a unit. So wherever it is that you fit, make room for at least 2 more people, because you have to bring other people from the school with you. It just, like, it has to be gang shit, unfortunately. Not unfortunately, but gang shit sounds bad, but it has to be gang shit. It has to be
Eggie
gang
really
shit.
plugged in the title. That's the hookup. He really found a way to plug in that title. Yeah, so we have reached the end of our episode. I can't believe it's already been an hour. I feel like I've only been talking for like 15 minutes because I know you guys, it's been a lot of fun, and you guys have definitely what I like about this dynamic is that nobody necessarily had the same opinions. Everybody had different opinions about different subjects, and everybody had their own takeaways of their personal experiences. And that just goes to show you that, like, when you reach that alumni point where you're about to graduate and enter the industry, everybody's going to have a different experience, and it's all on how you incorporate everything that you take away here or just in your own experiences to then become your ideal industry professional and hopefully your ideal leader. So I'm going to just like go over, because this is something that Eggie used to do all the time. I hope I make you proud.
You do all the time. The podcast could not have been left in better hands. So I'm very excited about that.
We're just going to go over a couple of your talking points, some stuff that you said today, and even some stuff that you said in our briefing 2 days ago that I really want audiences to take away with. So for Bella, networking, so important. Underline like 1,000,000 times. And it's never too late to do something. Sell yourself. And I hope I get this right. If they don't see a sparkle in your eye, they don't want you.
Oh my goodness.
That's literally how I had it written. She was like, yeah, that's real. And surround yourself with good people. Have measurable numeric components on everything, especially your resume. And keep an A-list of accomplishments, rewards, and experiences. Eggie, fall in love with your job. Does it fulfill you? Does it make you feel good? Because stay hungry, stay humble, and dive to as many projects as you can. Always know that you don't know. And that is my favorite thing you've ever said. Always know that you don't know, and just to ask questions. It's about winning together, win as a team. And for Sam, own who you are. Own what you did and the work that you did. And, well, I know that you guys have all inspired everyone, like, into their process of being alumni, graduating and into the industry. I know that you guys gave a lot of great advice, and especially the resume building. I said building. I'm definitely gonna have to go back and tackle my own resume with these points. I've got it all here. So thank you guys so much for joining us for this alumni episode. This has been a lot of fun, and I know that everybody else probably had a lot of fun listening into. This has been Where You Fit, and thank you for listening. We'll see you guys in the next episode. Thank you guys for tuning in with Where We Fit, a podcast celebrating the unique paths and voices of the marketing and communications industry. Brought to you by the CCNY AAF Student Chapter. Make sure to follow us on our Instagram accounts for all the latest updates at Where We Fit Pod and at AAF City College. We'll see you in the next episode.